Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness and the Road to Human Kindness. What does that mean? What is human kindness about? Human kindness is about communities that can help everybody succeed to their greatest ability and to the greatest security of the community. And that means every community should have its own free medical care. It should have its own free daycare. It should have its own free adult care. And when I say free, I mean they're endowed. They're endowed in the community by the community to be able to support themselves and move forward. Just like the Shriners Hospital, Danny Thomas's great project where he was able to create an endowment that was large enough to maintain that hospital so people that need the services don't have to pay for the services. And there's no reason why we can't have that in every community. Congress created this in 1969 when they said we want people to be more charitable. If we want to accomplish something, we have to make it more attractive. We have to tax less, and that will make it more attractive to do this kind of charitable giving. The charitable giving comes from changing what would ordinarily be tax dollars into spendable dollars, and that's a really powerful tool. This is what the endowment engineering is all about. Endowment engineering is creating the endowment for people so that they have the income that they need to live on for as long as they live in the way that they want to live, and done painlessly because it's changing tax dollars into spendable dollars. We have, I am intent on teaching as many people as I can about endowment engineering. Part of endowment engineering, however, it also includes ambassadorship, the ambassador feeling. What is an ambassador? An ambassador is a representative into the community who can help the community do what the community wants to do for the benefit of the community and for the benefit of each individual. And that's what a great ambassador does. He's able to take people and give them the vision of what that community can be like if he does the things necessary. If that person wants to do the things necessary to make themselves have a better life and also leave a legacy behind for the community. That's what the Congress intended. They wanted you to become more charitable, so they reduce your taxes if you are. If you make a promise to leave something to charity when you pass, they'll give you lower taxes while you're alive. Most people don't know that bargain exists, but it's been that way since 1969, and unfortunately, most people don't know about it. So my objective is to teach as many people as I can about that, and I encourage you to become a part of the endowment engineering group, the Society of Endowment Engineers. You can do that for as little as $49 a month to become affiliated with what our purpose is and to be able to become part of what we're doing. You'll be able to learn how to become an endowment engineer, and you can become certified as an endowment engineer, which gives you the opportunity to increase your own income. So you can increase your income, you can increase the income of the people that you work for and the people that you in the community that you want to help. Everybody benefits. Endowment engineering is the way of the future. And becoming an ambassador is important because you need to have the trust of the people. You know, we fought a revolution over taxation without representation. When we were taxed and we didn't have a voice to speak out to say we shouldn't be taxed or this is a wrong tax, that was without representation. I like to look at the ambassador as your representative. And if he's an endowment engineer, he's going to show you how to do the best that you can do with your existing wealth in order to avoid taxes and increase income. And he does that in a favorable way for you. They have an obligation to serve you and the community. An endowment engineer can do blueprints for you that will help you teach your advisors in many instances how this works. The endowment engineer can provide those blueprints as part of their service to you. And that's what we teach. We want to teach people how to do these blueprints and help people to become endowment engineers and become certified and become part of our Society of Endowment Engineers. When we talk about wealth, wealth is very important. Income is very important. Is there a difference between wealth and income? My guest today is Timothy Clifford, and he is an expert in this area. He's written quite a bit about it. In fact, he has a book out that helps you to formulate the way to do this properly, how to plan. Good morning. How are you, Timothy?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I was interested in your statement that there's a difference between wealth and income, or here and there. I like that. I like that concept. Tell me how that plays into your planning for your clients who are working with you to be their advisor.
So just a really short story of kind of how I came across this. So I started my career in the commodity business back in the 80s, trading on the floor, spent a decade doing it, was successful and failed a lot. So after spending 10 years, I came to the conclusion that this wasn't going to work. I made a lot of money and then I'd lose a lot of money. And so I kind of got into my 30s, early 90s. I said, well, I need to really change and think this through differently. And so I moved to Indianapolis, went to work at Charles Schwab and Company. And there I had an opportunity to work with a lot of different types of people that both made a lot of money and had a lot of money. So I was more like customer service representative. So it was more like a relationship. It wasn't like a financial advisor, financial planner. It was more like just helping them, do what they wanted to do. And one of the things that I noticed very quickly was people who made a lot of money made different decisions than those who had a lot of money. And I could kind of see that. And so I kind of went on this quest of, why is there such this huge variance of people that make a lot of money? They all might live in the same neighborhood, but yet behind the scenes, there's a huge difference. So that's kind of what I've really been working on is how do I help people who make a lot of money not end up 10, 15, 20 years down the road and not have any money or not have put aside any money.
Is that because they spend too much, Tim?
That's absolutely what it is. It's a combination of spend too much. It's, people just they don't want to talk about it. It's such an emotional subject, even with your significant other. It's pretty surprising. So it's kind of easy just to put your head, under the pillow and just kind of move along, especially if you're really smart, have a great job and make a lot of money. That can kind of hide a lot of silly mistakes you make, but those will show up 10, 15 years later. You just won't necessarily connect the dots.
Is it apportioning what you're making in order to create the wealth that you want? Is that what you're defining in a sense? In other words, people earn a lot of money. They like the lifestyle that it gives them. They don't want to give up any part of the lifestyle. In fact, they expand on it. One of the things that happens, I think, when some of these young pro athletes get a lot of money and they think they're going to earn that money forever.
That's exactly what happens. And it really comes to how you started this whole podcast. It comes to this. We have a responsibility as citizens, as part of a community, to be responsible, and that means to make money. And there's nothing wrong with making money and being productive and giving, but you also need to give back to the community. That includes taking care of yourself and your family, not just based on what's happening right this minute, but based on, well, how's this look, 10 years, 20 years down the road? And that's why I kind of built this whole Plan Assist booklet that I just wrote around three things. Have a plan. And again, it goes to, here, there, where are you at now? Where do you want to go? This isn't some 40-page PDF document. So it's just, where are you at now? Where do you want to go? That's have a plan. Be diversified. That means just don't have everything in one investment. Most people understand that, but that's diversification across kind of three areas of your financial life. So it's diversification across your investments. It's diversification across tax liability. So people don't realize you need to have money in tax-free, taxable, tax-deferred. So as you get into retirement, you can manage those taxes. And then diversification across income. So you need to have multiple income streams as you get closer and closer to retirement. So when you get into retirement, you're not just dependent on one particular income stream. And then lastly, and I think this is the hardest one of all, is seeking counsel. And when I say seek counsel, I don't mean go call a salesperson or go ask someone what to do, and then you have to follow it. I mean that counsel that someone gives you input and you decide if that makes sense or doesn't make sense for you individually, but getting good at asking for input, asking for suggestions, and then being able to look through them and decide, all right, that makes sense for me. That doesn't make sense for me. I'm not talking about someone telling you what to do. And again, this is one of those things that when you talk to people who are really smart and successful, this is one area that's really difficult for them because they can just get on Google. They can go do their own research.
Yeah.
They don't think they need input.
They become Google doctors. Yeah.
That's
Google,
exactly right.
And Google attorneys, Google doctors, and Google planners. Yeah.
And then they don't have the skill set to interact when they do need to seek counsel. So
they don't know what, I think part of it, I don't need to interrupt you, I'm sorry. In our ambassador program, our objective with teaching people to be ambassadors is to be able to help the individual focus on what the individual actually should be doing or wants to do in order to get where they need to get. And focusing on where they want to get is sometimes a difficult problem. What tools do you have a tool or tools that you use to kind of focus people on this? Is it through your book that you do this, or how do you do it?
So I primarily use the technologies, really high-end technology, but it's pretty low cost and relatively accessible. I'll typically use a financial planning tool called Right Capital. I use another investment tool called Riskalyze, but I don't want to overthink. Those are just the online tools. There's dozens of really good tools that help people connect the dots and financial planning tools, but I use technology to help people connect dots.
So the Riskalyze, those are basically, they're looking at diversification of investments. They're looking at making sure that you're not too heavy in a particular area. So you're primarily in the investment management area, would you say, where you're really looking at the wealth portfolio of the individual. Do you go further with that with regard to helping the family plan in different ways with regard to documents or other aspects of the overall plan? For example, do you look at their property and casualty insurance to make sure that they have adequate limits when you look at them? Just trying to get a feel for how much depth you go into.
So that's a really good question. And the financial services industry has changed dramatically over the last 30 years. And one of the things that, if you had a conversation with me 5 years ago, one of the ways that we make money is investment management. But today that's very commoditized. So you can't just really help people by looking at their investments and helping them with investments. It's not adding enough value to families when they step back. So the answer to your question is I have two ways that I help people, and I have kind of a unique, not that different than your ambassador club, where it's a subscription-based model where they pay a monthly fee, and then I help them with kind of all the areas of their financial life, but I don't do any of their investments. They go do them. So I'll help them with their insurance, their taxes. Do they have them, do they have assets titled correctly? I'll have those conversations, and then I want to I'm not an insurance agent, so I'm not selling them something, right? I'm just helping them ask the right questions.
Are you fee-based? Are you fee-based, Tim?
I'm fee-based.
Okay, so you charge a fee for your services, and is it based on the success of your outcomes, or?
I have two models. One is just placed on time. So it's a subscription-based model. And the best way to look at it is, if you've heard of Orange Theory from a fitness perspective, you pay an X $100 a month, and you'll go in and they'll help you with, weight loss or, whatever you're looking for, right? You want more fitness, et cetera. That model is just based on connecting the dots, using some technology and helping them really think through kind of where they're at and where they want to go. The second one is fee-based, where I'll invest the money and do all the pieces, and then I'll charge a percentage of the assets that I manage. But I really let clients kind of pick what's the best model for them. I mean, so it depends kind of where they're at and what they're doing. And
where they are in the game, I guess. Where they are in the game.
Exactly.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how people can find out where they are in the game. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Once upon a time, in a town quite grand, lived Eleanor with a sharp mind and a steady hand. She had an eye for detail. Numbers were her game, and as she neared life's twilight, she sought lasting fame. One day, fate smiled with a windfall so bright. Eleanor saw a chance to set things right. She found Section 664, a tax code so rare. But for Kratz and Krutz, you're gonna need an engineer. An endowment engineer, savvy and wise. She crafted a plan, a legacy in disguise. A trust for her grand twins, income to provide. But with a twist, they must serve, and must they, with pride. The twins took the challenge, and they ran with glee, establishing a center, a place for all to see. For animals and seniors, a haven of care. A place where love and kindness would flourish with flair. So remember, dear friends, as you navigate life, Social Security can ease your strife. With a heart full of giving and a mind so keen, you too can create a legacy unseen. Plan, prosper, pass on. That's the power of 664.
And we're back. My guest is Tim Clifford. Tim is, where are you located, Tim?
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay, great.
Yep.
So you're just north of the road, up the road from us. We're actually just a train ride away now.
Have you ridden that yet?
No, I haven't. I'm planning on doing that. Maybe we'll have lunch one day in Orlando. Meet you there. And Tim, you practice as a fee-based investment advisor, I would imagine.
Yes.
CFP. You're certified financial planner. You're basically helping people formulate a plan. Talk to me a little bit about the plan for income. How do people need to view planning for income in the future?
So again, think of it as two groups: people that make a lot of money and people who have a lot of money. And the people who have a lot of money will typically also make a lot of money, by the way. So that's an important distinction. So one of the things that happens with people who have a lot of wealth, you will see them plan for multiple income distributions way early and all throughout their lives. They're always looking for opportunities to create another income stream. They don't wait until they're retired. I'm making $350,000 a year. I think I'm going to retire next year. How do I go become a consultant? The better strategy is to think of it ongoing all the time. So if you're 40 years old and you're an obstetrician, you need to think about how do you add income streams to your life while you're at the peak earnings of your life, when it's probably not that important, because then those income streams can have time to develop. You have time to learn, okay, well, what works, what doesn't, what do you like, what don't you like? So you have time to think about kind of what's the best way to build those income streams. So if I was given advice, think about multiple income streams really constantly and way earlier than when you get ready to retire.
I've been using the term endowment for a long time as a definition of what that income stream is. In a sense, most people think endowment is for a university or a hospital, but everybody really has their own endowment. They just don't call it endowment. They call it their income stream, or they call it the retirement plan, or they call it whatever the assets are that are going to be supporting them in the future. So when you create these additional income streams, the devices that you would use to create those additional income streams, I guess, would be IRA or a 401k. No, are you talking about taking money and putting it into a pool of investments that will yield that income in addition to what I'm making? Do most people want to have more income when they're making a lot of income, or do they want to defer that income?
Well, I think two things. I think income stream in my kind of world is probably more broader than just, okay, let's put money in an IRA account and generate an extra $1,000 a month. Okay. I mean, but that is an income stream. So I don't want to kind of downplay that as part of the income stream, but another part of the income, so that, and you obviously don't want to create income streams just to get yourself in a higher tax bracket. So your idea of endowment, or how do you defer the income, or how do you put it in a Roth and not have tax free? Because remember, taxes are one of our biggest expenses. I mean,
Right.
So it's definitely needs to be part of the strategy when we look at income, but also it includes our gifts, right? So if you use the obstetrician as an example, a lot of times their gift is consultation, or a lot of times their gift is technology or something else where they could serve on boards, or they could serve as, goes back to community. There's a lot of things that people don't really think about when they're working 60 hours a week, and that they could be doing that could maybe not generate an income stream today, but it could be the foundation to an income stream a year, 10 years, 5 years down the road, right? I mean, you and I both have probably lots of friends that successful in kind of corporate America. They leave corporate America and then they just go serve on multiple boards and make not obviously as much money as they might have made when they were working, but it still creates an income stream on being on 2 or 3 boards, being part of an endowment.
Let me just, Gen Zs are, I think they've become masters at creating additional income streams. They do, they're involved in the gig economy in a sense, and almost everything they do is a separate gig, where they're constantly creating new things that will make income for them. I imagine that's why they're doing that. So, but are we talking about strictly labor created income streams, or are we talking about, because I mean, if I'm an obstetrician and I'm busy every day delivering babies and I don't have much time to do something else, I can't work at something else, scratch that. I don't think people really allocate their time appropriately. I kind of agree with that sense, in the sense that people need to give back to the community as part of what they're doing. It kind of goes back to, I don't believe in the MBA theory, the Masters in Business Administration theory, that the bottom line is the only thing that's important. Everything is important, including their relationship with their employees, their relationship with the community, and then their bottom line is also a factor, but you need to bring all of that into it. So when you're talking about, as I'm trying to get clear and get an understanding of, when you're talking about another income stream that you create, you're not talking about creating it through labor in that sense, right? You're talking about creating it from assets that you're investing or that you're accumulating.
I actually think it's both. I think it's labor. I think, but it's just you're not putting that much labor into it, but it creates an extra income stream. It might be you invested when you were making a decent amount of money in a piece of real estate to rent if you're an obstetrician, stay on that example. Instead of renting that office, you might buy that office. Right. Okay. And while you're working, you're paying off that office. When you get into retirement, you might sell your practice, but you also might sell or just rent the office and generate an income stream. Right. So it's a combination of both. And part of that, running that office, you don't just take and turn all the management of that office over to a management company. You actually learn, okay, well, what are some of the decisions you need to make, and what are some of the things you need to do? It doesn't mean you won't ultimately turn it over, but you want to be involved enough to where you're aware of and able to actively participate in the management of it, right? I mean, so it doesn't mean I'm spending 20 hours a month managing that office, but you kind of know what's happening within that office, right?
If somebody can teach you or instruct you as to what's the best way to do it. For example, if you run across somebody that's operating as a sole proprietor, you may tell them that you don't think that it's in their best interest to operate as a sole proprietor. They should become a corporate entity or an LLC. Is that kind of what you're also advising?
That's absolutely. That's a good example. So here's a quick story. So I knew someone who made a lot of money in the investment business. He bought a business while he was working, and he just turned it over. He really, really liked who was running it. So he didn't really learn the business or get involved in the business. He invested $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in the business and was really happy and bragged pretty regularly about how he was doing with it. Well, the person that was running that business ran it into the ground 5 years later, and he ended up losing all of his money. So my point is when I talk about an income stream, I'm not talking about, okay, let's put it in an IRA and just generate $1,000. That's okay. And yeah, there's a portion for that because it might be an annuity or something like that. But I think people need to be a lot more involved in what they're doing and understand kind of how it works. That does not mean a lot of time. It just, to your point, means be smarter about it, but be more involved.
That's a great point to end on, Tim. And it's something I stress with ambassadors. The ambassadors are people that can help you do what you're doing in a better way, just because you may not be aware of something and they make you aware of it. It's financial literacy for businesses and for individuals who are interested in making their lives better, because there are nuances, a lot of nuances out there that most people aren't aware of. I want to thank you very much for joining us today on Route 664. Tim Clifford from Orlando, a certified financial planner and an author who's written a book about the best way to plan for your future and to create the income that you need. Thank you for joining us today on the Route 664, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
As I talked about earlier on the show today, we have created our Endowment Engineering School, Ambassadors and Endowment Engineers. We call it AMBs. You can become AMBs, not MBAs, but AMBs. We don't worry about the administration. We're worried about the method that you're using to do the business, and ambassadors have this knowledge that they can share with the community, with the business community, individual community, as to how they can best do what they're doing and maximize the benefits of what they're doing is in the work that they're doing. So I know that's kind of sketchy, but for example, what we talked about earlier, somebody's operating as a sole proprietor, they need to know that they can operate as an LLC or an S corporation or C corporation. What's the difference between them? How do you take advantage of your retirement plans? What kind of retirement plans are available to each different type of category? What's the best way to operate from a fiscal responsibility perspective? Are you taking advantage of a health savings account? All these things. And then we also add in the ability to reduce your taxes and increase your income using charity, which is a really powerful tool. And that's one of the things that the ambassadors and the endowment engineers, the MBs, are able to do. They can take you from where you are to where you want to be, but using charity to help you get there quicker by eliminating tax and increasing income. You can learn more about that on our website at endowamerica.com, and the radio station, which is at Route 664 Radio. And you get the app for it on Apple, or yes, there's a book called Social Charity, and that's what's going to save Generation Alpha and millions of people in the country, because Social Charity is what the ambassadors do and the endowment engineers do. They help introduce Social Charity into the community and make it viable. And you can learn more about that. Get the book on Amazon called Social Charity. Or our website.
Just go to the website, for the love of God.
Go to the website.
That's awesome. I will.
Thank you, Wanda. Thanks for reminding me. Go to the website at endowamerica.com, endowamerica.com. Thank you very much for being with us today. We'll see you again soon. Take care.